Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Denise Douglas. Thank you for joining us this evening. As the community continues to mourn the death of Officer Jacai Colson, we get some new information on the gun battle in which he was shot. The Prince George's County Police Chief or Fire Chief says that the incident defies logic and talked about the ambulance that was hit by a bullet and how the crew was able to pull out of harm's way. While trying to make sense of the shooting that took Officer Jacai Colson's life, the fire chief today revealed more details of the incident.
The ambulance was struck by a bullet, as the police department reported. There was minor damage to a front bumper. It appears that the bullet ricocheted off of the ambulance. I don't have any information about whether they recovered any shell casings or anything like that, but the ambulance crew recognized they were in trouble. They quickly called in on the radio.
In addition to firing on the ambulance, police say Michael Ford randomly shot at cars as they passed by before turning his gun towards the Palmer Park Police Station to engage officers. It was a death wish to die at the hands of the cops.
At this point, we believe he was trying to elicit a response from the police officers and was using any target of opportunity to try to elicit that response. Again, an unprovoked confrontation with the police officers, and anybody who happened to be passing through at the moment appears to have been an equally viable target for him as he tried.
The situation quickly turned into a gun battle, with Officer Colson arriving on the scene and returning fire to try and stop the suspect. Police have learned that Colson was shot by a fellow officer's bullet. He later died at the hospital.
Son, brother, friend, police officer, and a hero, not only to the Prince George's County Police Department, but to every citizen in Prince George's County.
As it all went down, Ford's brothers, Elijah and Malik, stood by and videotaped it.
We have individuals videotaping it as if it's a game, as if it's something that we're going to put on YouTube and glorify.
Now the community mourns and looks for answers, something that the police chief says he only hopes the investigation will reveal.
I'm not certain at the end of this investigation we'll be able to explain to you why people would do something like this, but the community should know that we are working diligently to try to answer those questions as we prepare to properly honor our fallen comrade in the days to come.
A bond review is scheduled for Malik and Elijah Ford tomorrow. Their brother Michael remains in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Those two brothers, who police say were involved in an attempted suicide mission that led to the death of Officer Colson, now face charges. The county state's attorney has filed charges against Malik and Elijah Ford for 6 counts of attempted murder, 3 counts of first-degree assault, and conspiracy to commit murder. According to investigators, on March 13th, Malik and Elijah, along with his older brother Michael, ambushed the District 2 police station, causing the officer to die.
The police in this case have had an opportunity to review the facts, and based on the facts that the police have presented, we have filed the following charges against Elijah and Malik. Attempted murder, there are 6 counts of attempted murder, 3 counts of first-degree assault, and conspiracy to commit murder. The officers in this case also presented second-degree murder and use of a handgun charges to the commissioner in this case. The commissioner reviewed and determined that there was not probable cause to file the second-degree murder and use of a handgun charges.
Also wanted to mention that incident actually happened at District 3 police station. Officer Colson, a 4-year veteran of the force, would have turned 29 this week.
Well, police are looking for suspects who may have robbed several commercial establishments in Bowie. 2 men robbed a CVS pharmacy in the 6900 block of Laurel Bowie Road about 10:15 this morning. A 3rd male suspect stood guard at the entrance while the 2 filled duffel bags with prescription cough syrup. They then fled the scene in a gray Chevy Camaro. Shortly after, police say the same suspects entered Walgreens in the 15,900 block of Annapolis Road and robbed the pharmacy there at gunpoint as well. Assorted medicines were taken from the premises. If you have any information on these incidents, you're asked to contact Bowie Police at 301 888-262-6200. Well, last year, Maryland beekeepers lost nearly 2/3 of their hives, according to a coalition called Smart on Pesticides. It's a staggering number because the bees are essential to pollinating the food we eat. Now, legislation before the Maryland General Assembly seeks to regulate pesticides that many researchers are saying that are harming these beneficial insects.
I have personally seen 100% loss the last 2 years. Opened my hive up yesterday and they were dead.
Michelle Danoff is one of 2,200 beekeepers in Maryland. Some are professionals, others are hobbyists, but all have been hit hard by a declining honeybee population.
It is a $26 million industry in the state of Maryland. When the state of Maryland loses 61% of the bees, there is an enormous problem, and the fallout's going to be even higher cost-wise.
Bees pollinate 71 of the 100 crops that make up the world's food supply. Honeybees, in particular, are responsible for 1 out of every 3 bites of food we eat. But a growing band of research says that a toxic pesticide is killing or harming these and other pollinators, posing a serious threat to our food supply. That's why legislation has been introduced in the Maryland General Assembly to regulate neonicotinoids, commonly known as neonics.
Bees, for example, dizzy and disoriented, and they can't find their way back to the hive. And so then we have hive collapse. So those are the kind of things that happen, or makes them vulnerable to diseases. It doesn't really necessarily kill them directly, but it makes them sick. And that makes them vulnerable, and that makes the whole system vulnerable.
What this bill does is it no longer allows retailers to sell pest control products, for example, this one, to consumers at Home Depot, at Lowe's, at Walmart, and stores like that. In fact, there are already Maryland nurseries that no longer do that.
The Pollinator Protection Act bans consumers from purchasing neonics. The pesticide would only be available to certified applicators, farmers, or veterinarians. It also requires labeling anything treated with the insecticide.
And there are safer alternatives, and on our website, mdpestnet.org, we have a chart of 30 different pests and all the products that are safer to be used on those.
To date, more than 20 states, municipalities, federal agencies, and universities have taken steps to restrict neonicotinoids. And the Senate version passed last week, but without the labeling and signage requirements for plant seeds or nursery stock treated with neonics. Both houses will have to meet in a conference committee to work out the differences with the 2 cross-filed bills. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Denise Douglas. Up